Hi, this is John Harcher, and welcome to episode 27 of Valleys of Numenor. We head back to Foundation and episode 6. We left off with Brother Day leaving Trantor for the first time, Gal waking up and figuring out where and when she was, and the Anacreons attacking the Foundation on Terminus. Let's see where we go from here. Episode 27, Foundation episode 6, Death and the Maiden. Wait, that's not an Asimov book. Brother Day completes his space jump to the planet Sura, where the Luminarians are. Lee Pace gets his own shirtless shot to show Marvel what they missed out on. The Emperor always knew what to do in any situation until Selden showed up and put doubt in his mind. He goes to see Demerzel, who's replacing some skin on her face. He's not used to things like space jumps, but being a robot, she can handle staying awake through it. He tries to learn as much as he can about the planet's culture and its religion. Turns out Demerzel is an adherent, but why believe in that if she's a robot? And how can that be if she's totally fulfilled being the Emperor's servant? Basically, it's not the answer, but the search for one that intrigues her. They land on the moon called the Maiden. Oh, that's why they call the episode that. And Day is not used to being in the sun. The Zephyr Halima meets them alone. She offers him a drink and everyone panics. He passes on it, but she leaves thanking them for coming. Both Brother Day and Demerzel are impressed, but need to keep an eye on her. On Terminus, the Anacreons go to the remnants of the Imperial ship. Somehow they find a survivor and take him alive. The settlement is being wiped out, so the kids are trying to find a place to hide. Farah is given the things she's looking for, but still wants to know what's in the vault, which explains why Salvor is still alive. Going through the manifest, she finds out the people she needs for a crew to do something, and has the fence put back up just with a new code. The kids, meanwhile, go in, take the guard by surprise, and rescue Hardin. Farah brings everyone together and demands the people that she needs to work on the ship, whichever ship that is. The first woman says no, so her husband gets shot in the leg. The next guy comes forward without a fight. Then they take Lewis since the person they needed died and he took over. In the garden on Trantor, Dawn thanks Azura for her help. Then they talk about plants, which really isn't a talk about plants, but I don't think it's about that either. He's summoned by Dust to do their version of trap shooting with something resembling a bird or not. The old man is annoyed he has to do this instead of Day doing it, but he enjoys the hunt anyway. Dawn already shows he doesn't need training as he shoots one with his first shot. The kids Polly and Gia drag Salvor into a cave. She wakes up and they tell her they heard the word Invictus. Hardin tells them it's a missing ship, but they think Farah has found it from the way she's talking. They make their way out of a tunnel to find Hugo and her father waiting there. They've been locked out of the new fence, so Salvor says they need to find a way to stop the Anacreon ships. She realizes this is Harry Seldon's first crisis, and it's her job to solve it. On the Maiden Moon, Day and Demerzel meet with their ambassador, and the Emperor is not pleased there was only one person to meet him. But a proper greeting awaits inside. And to help his candidate become their leader, Day offers to build a plant to make sure there's always clean water. He also drinks from her cup. Back on Terminus, Salvor's dad is having a hard time dealing with the elements since he grew up on Trantor. He knew back then it was all going to fall apart, but only got involved when he wanted to impress a girl, namely Salvor's mom. They find the Anacreons setting explosives around the whole city, so they need to stop them ASAP. Hardin will go to try to take out all three ships with one explosive. Dawn is really good at this trap shooting, but he insists on hiding half of his kills so as not to embarrass Dusk. The older man gives the youth a drink and then takes them to their version of a brothel where they can indulge themselves without consequence. Dawn decides to pick one to indulge himself, and she looks suspiciously like the gardener girl. She takes off her clothes but sees he just wants to talk, kind of reverses her expectations. Later, she tells Dust about what happened, or didn't, while showering. Salvor goes to approach the point where she'll take her shot when she stumbles and has visions from the vault again. She then sees what really happened between Harry and Raish, I think. It was all his idea because somehow that if Rach and Gal stayed together, everything collapses. So the plan was that Rach will kill him, then escape in the pod. Right as Harry gets stabbed, she's woken up by Hugo. Her dad is on his way to the ships to destroy them. The pair gets spotted and the Anacreons start shooting. The elder Harden is running towards the ships with explosives. Salvor keeps taking the shooters around him out, but when she turns for a second to save Hugo, her father gets shot. She shoots more of them around him, but he reaches the explosive and sets it off. Think of it as like Steve McQueen at the end of the Sand Pebbles trying to rescue Bruce Willis at the end of Armageddon. It's kind of like that kind of feel. Looking over the garden, Dawn sees Azura and actually invites her up to see the view from there. She's afraid to stand out on the ledge, but he gives her his force field. She tells him if he won't, she won't, so he tosses it away. She described a bunch of red plants and he asked for better descriptions, making her come to the conclusion he's colorblind. Thing is, none of the other Cleons have ever been colorblind. They offer to push each other off the ledge to keep the secret, then they start making out. That's a strange mating ritual. Over in the forest, the Emperor's wardsman takes the killed hidden animals away, then disappears. Huh, now that's strange. Almost like a cloaking device is someone else. Oh. On Terminus, Hardin blames herself for her father's death, confused that he joined up just to be with her mom, but then became a believer. I think I found the thread in this episode. Get back to that in a minute. She also takes blame for the taking of the city, but Hugo tells her it was everybody's fault and she's the one keeping Harry's plan on target. After the ship's destruction, there's only one functioning ship on the planet, Hugo's. They need to get there first. At the Proximus funeral, the announcement is made about the Emperor's water plant, and as they begin to pray, Halima comes up on the altar. Galat seeds the stage, and it turns into a Southern Baptist revival sermon, accent and all. She says things change over time thanks to the mother's gift of rebirth. So things that were not good once can aspire to that, and vice versa. She's looking right at day. A soul must evolve to attain enlightenment and that kind of thing. At the end, everyone bows except you know who. But why is the robot bowing? Salvor and Hugo reach the ship, but the Anacreons are already there. Farah orders them to shoot Hardin. Now they want to kill her. But Hugo switches the ship's functions to her, meaning it won't do anything without her being alive. We do find out Hugo's a Thespin, giving a reason for his hatred. Farah takes the previous three and Salvor and Hugo onto the ship. She and her mother say goodbye when Mara asks where her father is. Salvor can only say she tried. The ship then takes off for an asteroid belt. This episode concentrates on good old-fashioned male-female, boy-girl interactions. How quaint. Almost every part of the story revolves around it. Race almost messes up the Foundation plan because of it. Salvor's father changed his whole life because of it. And now the young Emperor is beginning to see what this is all about. This is all new because there are 0 romances in the original story, which was one of its problems with turning it into some kind of film or show. We also get to the stressing of the individual, something Brother Day is going to be even more involved with in the coming episodes. So all in all, a well thought out and executed episode. Next time, we actually find out the reason why Harry had Race murder him. It's a big part of the plan, and not one I particularly buy. Please hit the subscribe button if you like what you're hearing. I'm John Harjar. Thanks for listening.